Convention goers have had enough. They're sick of it. They're tired of all the Genshin Impact crap. I really get a kick out of this stuff because it's one of those aspects where you assume that something is happening in conventions. I mean, obviously, Genshin Impact has been insane over the last 2 years. It hit at the right time. We had the whole lockdown stuff happening, and obviously, people needed something to do. Genshin Impact hit pretty much right then. Everybody was downloading it. It was fun. The characters, they sell you on the characters, and that's the main key thing that makes Genshin Impact what it is. It makes why the gacha itself is so successful, is it sells people on the characters. The characters are likable. In a lot of cases, they look great. The character models are fantastic, and their stories are always there. They hit the stories the right time to get you in that gacha, get you sold on it. People are invested. It's huge. And so, yes, my assumption is that conventions are full of it. There's gonna be Genshin stuff everywhere. Everything I see, it is nothing but Genshin. But then apparently here recently, with the recent cons, people are getting fed up, ? Or at least people are mentioning that they don't like it, and people are blowing up on them, obviously. If there's something that you do not do right now, is to anger the Genshin fans, because there's too many of them, and they're pretty passionate. They're very passionate. If there's one fandom I kind of steer away from, there's a few of them. Genshin's one of them. I love Genshin. I love a lot of people that love Genshin, but I don't go around the fandom. The fandom just is a bit too much for me. There's extremes for everything. Let's be perfectly honest. But yes, here last few days, there's been a post that's been blowing up, and I found it kind of intriguing. It's already got like 7.5 million views. And obviously, it's not in any of the replies that's important, but let's go over this one first. He says, Genshin Impact merch overtaking the majority of Artist Alley has sapped away a lot of the excitement and charm of browsing through booths. And of course, they follow it up, making sure here that we get the full context here. They're saying that, no, they're not surprised by this happening. And yes, they understand that artists are just doing what they do to earn money, which is going to be pretty much the main point of this whole thing. Doesn't mean that they can't be salty. That's important. You can see that there's an overfluctuation of something, and this is anywhere. This is not just a con thing. I think there is an added element to cons themselves because you're going out of your way to go somewhere. You arrive there, and you've wasted all that money going there just to see nothing but the same thing. So it's very understandable that, yes, you can be salty. Yeah, if I'm in this state, I get a flight, I get a ticket, everything's planned, I get some time off, and I go all the way over to this other state, I go to this con, I open the door, and there's nothing but something I have no interest in, or you may have an interest, but you're not that interested in it, or you love it, and you just don't want it to be everywhere. It's like you went to a con, you didn't go to a Genshin con, you went to a con that has everything in it. So it's understandable why somebody would be a little upset. And yes, the obvious reverse to that is the aspect that they're trying to make money. And that's the main key thing. Booths are expensive. If you go to these, if you actually are somebody that goes to one of these conventions and you set up a booth, Artist Alley, I think, is a lot more understandable in the price. But when you get further into this whole thing as like maybe a company or something trying to get in there, that's extremely expensive. But yeah, it's technically an Artist Alley booth is probably a lot cheaper. It's obviously a lot cheaper. Otherwise, people wouldn't be going there. And then when you go there, you need to have that investment returned. But I think the interesting thing is kind of seeing how a lot of these artists are coming out and kind of explain the situation to people, and it makes perfect sense. And again, I think to the credit of the original poster, I think they fully understand that. But there is this element that when you come to these conventions and you pay to buy a booth, you're going to want that investment to be returned. And I think there is something to be said here that if people don't buy this other stuff, why would they make this other stuff? So if you're an artist and you're going into creating content that people would want to buy, you're obviously going to look for the larger audience. It's the same for me when I'm making my content. Yes, I like to cover a lot of things. I really don't want to be a Mushoku Tensei content creator. As tempting as that was, like back when the anime was airing, holy crap, I was getting insane views just by covering Mushoku Tensei. I could make like 3 videos in a week and they were getting massive views. But I didn't want that to be my content because I know how dangerous that is. If I were to turn to just covering nothing but Mushoku Tensei, eventually I'm going to lose other audiences. And then once Mushoku Tensei does die out, I'm suddenly screwed because the people that were following me and that's watching my videos are no longer watching my videos because I'm not covering Mushoku Tensei anymore and they don't care about this other stuff. So there is an element that sometimes, yes, it is very it is very tempting to go after this one thing that sells because you do need to pay your bills. And these people know this. These artists know that going after this one thing is important because that's what pays the bills. And if they, especially, again, since they are investing money to go to the cons, getting a setup on a booth and everything like that, they need to make that money back. So the idea of wanting to cover other stuff is very difficult. And again, I have the same problem. I want to cover Yuzuki Family, but I know nobody's going to watch the video. I want to cover 16-bit Sensation, but I know nobody's going to care. Yes, I go to AntiChart, I go to Mal, and I look what's most popular, and I unfortunately have to prioritize those because in the end of the day, I need to pay the bills. I can't just focus on being obscure as possible. It's fun, it's really entertaining, and I have a blast doing it, and I love the comments of people saying, thanks for covering this show because I like it. And I'm like, yeah, but unfortunately nobody cares. Nobody's following it. Nobody's watching it. So it's kind of a balance for me personally in this idea that I can cover the big stuff and want to cover the little stuff to spread myself around. And again, I think Artist Alley, and general artists, again, I don't think this really is a conversation about strictly the conventions. It's just, again, conventions is more salty because you come there after paying a bunch of money and you see nothing but one thing. On the internet, it's the same deal. There's nothing but Genshin crap everywhere. Like, scroll your feed and whatnot, it's just Genshin, Genshin, Genshin. Because, again, it's popular. People love it. They want to see it. Whereas, I don't know, Lena Inverse from Slayers, nobody cares. I made that argument here recently when everybody was claiming that the artist was doing AI stuff. And it's like, well, they're probably trying to upgrade their art style because nobody cares about the old style anymore. And they want to sell a book. They can't sell that old style because nobody's buying it. So again, it comes down to investment and getting that return. Yes, there's a lot of people that are making the argument that when it comes down to it, technically Mihoyo does allow people to use their content. They allow people to make fan art of their content as long as you're not part of some big company making a bunch of money off of them, which, yes, technically is important. There's a lot of risk that an artist is going to be taking in making art of something, fan art or not, and especially selling that. Because if they get too much of attention by the company that owns the property, yes, they're liable for copyright infringement. You can't really make the argument of transformative and fair use in the case of fan art. Yes, it's going to be a lot more less likely that you're going to get attacked by a company in Japan by selling stuff in the US in a convention, but at the same time, the legality and the danger is still there. There's still this chance that a big company especially, is going to come after you. I don't really like the idea that most people in the comments regarding this are really kind of pointing out the idea of like, well, Nintendo come after you. Because yes, technically, if you make a fan art of Mario, yes, you're more likely to get attacked by Nintendo. If you make a fan art of Mickey Mouse, you're very more likely to get attacked. There is these larger properties that are based out of the US that will come after you. I'm saying Nintendo is a Japanese company, yes, but it does have a branch in the United States, and they do take this stuff seriously. They take their copyright very seriously. There's an argument to be made that a lot of these companies, lawyers know full well that you have to set precedents. You have to protect your property, otherwise it will lose its protections. There's case law around this. I'm not a lawyer. Once again, like 2 videos in a row talking about lawyer stuff. But I've heard of this precedence that you have to kind of set in protecting your IP and your property. But yes, I don't agree really with everybody saying that, yes, if you make fan art of Shana from Shaku no Shana, the company in Japan's going to come after you. No, not really. You're going to be able to sell it just fine in a convention. That's not really the argument there. But yes, it is technically right that you are breaking copyright by doing that. Whereas, again, this is sort of an argument that people are making that why there's so much Genshin art is that Mihoyo, on the other hand, has made public statements saying that, yes, make fan art. As long as you're not a big company, use our fan art. Now, I want to make it perfectly clear because I've been hearing people say this and I really don't like it. I really don't like this assumption. I want people to be fully aware here what's going on. Genshin isn't being nice to fan art creators. They're not going, oh, we want the little people to make fan art of our stuff and make money from our property. No, they don't want people making money off their property. They want people to make art so that it creates a fandom. Mihoyo is smart as hell with marketing. Their ads on YouTube suck, by the way. Their 2 to 3 second ads on YouTube are so stupid, but they know how to market. That's why every 2 seconds you get another big giveaway and you go, oh crap, there's a giveaway for Genshin Impact, and you click on it and it's fan art submission. Why is it fan art submission? Because it's free advertisement. They want great artists to make art of their stuff so that people see it and then people retweet it and they get it out there. Mihoyo is making money, making bank off these fan artists. They're not doing these fan artists a favor. They're getting free advertisement from fan artists. And the fan artists will then make a little bit of money themselves, but Mihoyo is making the bank. They're not trying to do anybody favors. Please stop the idea that that Mihoyo is some god company that wants to take care of the fans. If that was the case, they'd be open to everybody making fan art and making money off of their stuff. Because it's all in percentages. Whether it's a big company selling t-shirts with Genshin stuff on it, making a large amount of money, versus a fan artist, a small single person making money off of it, the percentage is still the same. It's just they want to capture this broader field of people. They want people to spread art of their stuff. And a single company making a t-shirt's not going to do that. Their focus is those fan artists. Their focus is those artists that are spreading this property around. Their focus is to have, yes, Artist Alley full of their art. It's the biggest advertisement ever. Because it sinks into people's minds. If you're not a Genshin Impact player and you walk into Artist Alley and you see nothing but Genshin stuff, something's going on. But I can make the argument, and I do agree with a lot of people in the idea that it all comes down to what you buy. Again, it's similar to what I was mentioning earlier. You make what sells. You make what people look at. I sometimes make videos with that mindset in the back of my head pushing me, you need to make a video on this because it's big right now. And in a lot of the cases, I'm fighting it back until finally I find something that, hey, I'm actually interested in talking about this. That's what eventually triggers me to finally talk about it, is I finally go, yeah, I kind of want to talk about this. So if these artists say, make a picture of Beldandi from Goddess, and they put it up on that shelf and they're so proud of it, and then everybody walks by going, what the hell is that, an angel? What is this character? Well, I'm not going to buy it. Or say you make Ichigo from Bleach, and you're so proud of it and you stick it out there and everybody knows who this character is, but nobody wants to buy it. Genshin players, Genshin fans are buying it. That's the key thing. You go to the market, and if these people want to buy your stuff, you're going to continue to make that stuff. It's not rocket science here. It's sadly reality. And yes, Genshin is another big thing right now. I agree with a lot of these posters in the idea that, yes, like Marina says here, I'm so tired of these takes because I've been attending cons as a visitor and as an artist for the last 5 years. And I can assure you that this is always happening, always happening with other fandoms. Attack on Titan, Sword Art Online, My Hero Academia, Persona 5, Fire Emblem Three Houses, Kimetsu no Yaiba. It's just that Genshin is still here after plus 2 years. And I would probably argue that Attack on Titan's been going on longer than that. You're going to go to whatever's big. That's how markets work. And again, I do understand the other side of this. I do understand how really sad it is that you can walk into an artist alley, again, after traveling for so long and see nothing but something that, again, you're either not interested in or you like, but you want to see a variety. And there, yes, is a very good argument to be made here that these artists, again, similar to what I was saying earlier, should be careful about this kind of stuff. Because as you get caught up in this stuff, eventually you're going to get trapped up inside of it. There's going to be an oversaturation, and eventually people are going to get bored of it. I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon with Genshin because, again, they're doing a great job of marketing. They're keeping the hype up, and it's going to keep going. But eventually that's going to lose steam. And there can be an argument to be made that if somebody enters an artist alley, unless people are very varied on their art style, which is going to be a lot of the cases, people are going to see, again, which one of these Hutaos do I buy? Because there's a billion of them. I understand it. It's hard to get trapped in that, and eventually it will kind of blow up in your face. Eventually people will get tired of it. Eventually the big fans are going to have plenty of art. But I will admit that there is this like element of like, how bad is it that they're talking about? Like some of these people are saying the recent convention they went to is like it's 80% Genshin, or at least Mihoyo stuff. And it's like that aspect of, is it really that bad? Because I've dealt with too many cases where, and I've seen some pictures already where it's like these people lay out their booth and they show like where Genshin is, and it's like this little section. But yeah, people think that it's all Genshin because, yes, I've experienced this as well, especially like my content and stuff like that, where people are like, your stuff is nothing but this. And it's like, but then you're ignoring everything else that is on the channel or whatever, or something like that. It's like, because when you walk in there, you have eyes looking for it, and you don't want to see anything else because you don't like the fact that this exists here. The fact that this exists here, that's all you're looking at. And you go from booth to booth, and your eyes just immediately go to the Genshin stuff. And you don't want it to be there, so that thus it becomes the bigger picture that you can't see anything else. It's like you become tunnel vision to the thing that you don't want to exist there. It's a thing. People do it. Anyways, I thought it was an interesting little bit, yeah, again, welcome to fandoms. The big thing sells. The big thing will be everywhere. Everybody will cosplay it. It's a fandom, and sometimes the power of the popularity of something will outshine everything else. And I fully get the upset there. A lot of people going to these conventions aren't going to Genshin conventions, and sometimes it kind of turns into that. So it is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment. Let me know what you think of this whole situation. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button to get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top list. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support it more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate everybody it does. And y'all take care.